Welcome to Conversations. I'm Barbara Kanellopoulos, and my guest today is someone who's very well known in Falmouth. Brenda Swain is the Executive Director of the Falmouth Service Center, and she is here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Brenda.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Barbara. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes. You know, some viewers who may be new to Falmouth may not know anything about the Falmouth Service Center, even though it's been on Gifford Street for such a long time. Tell us something about what the center is all about.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. And actually, some days we get phone calls asking us to rotate people's tires. So even people who've lived here a long time may not know what Falmouth Service Center is about. Actually, we started in 1983 and moved 4 times before we ended up on Gifford Street in 2002. And since we've been there, there's a big building at 611 Gifford Street, 10,000 square feet. We've been able to really create and do a lot of programming. One of the reasons I was really thrilled to be invited to speak to you is because people who do know who we are know that we're the town food pantry. But the important message that I wanted to bring to you and to the viewers is that we're really so much more than a food pantry. So to have the opportunity to be with you today and talk about all the other programs and services that we provide to people who are struggling in our town, I would welcome that opportunity.
Excellent. And who are the people you service?
Well, you know, there's a huge range of folks. We have over 13,000 individuals in our system, around 7,000 households that are in our database. And they come from Falmouth, Mashpee, Joint Base Cape Cod, people who work in Falmouth but might live in other communities nearby and can't get to food pantries in their area during our operating hours. But they're people who for some reason have found themselves struggling and under stress and unable to provide for themselves or their families in the way that they need to. Sometimes they don't come for the first time because they need food. They may be coming because they're about to lose their house and can't pay their mortgage. Or they may be coming because somebody who was working has gotten terribly ill and they've lost some of the income that the families had. So they just have a lot of bills and they don't know what to do. There are a lot of different reasons people come. But you know, incomes range considerably. There are people who are working 2 and 3 jobs, have limited benefits, earn as much as they can, but with the cost of housing, have a very hard time being able to afford to live here. We know what the housing costs are.
I can so understand that. There's this myth that Cape Cod is such a lovely place. I know that people who don't live here think, oh, Cape Cod. They assume that everyone is very wealthy and that there is no problem at all.
Yeah. But, well, all of the people who help to take care of the folks who come here on vacation, and those people have a hard time affording the cost of living here. Groceries are expensive, housing is expensive, just about everything is expensive. Medicine, health insurance.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's all those folks who support the infrastructure in our community, bus drivers, people who work in the gas stations, people who work in the restaurants, the CNAs in the nursing homes, you know, a lot of folks.
We're talking about working people.
Right, absolutely. And then there's people who are disabled who can't work and have limited income but still need to pay their bills. There's seniors on very fixed incomes that also need assistance. So it's a wide range of people who the Falmouth Service Center supports.
That's a staggering amount of people. Did you
I know, it's about 1/3 of the community have visited at one time or another.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It certainly tells us something about life today in Falmouth.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, people only come once. They just need help with something specific at one point in their life, and then they're able to pick up and do okay. And other people need help for a longer period of time or more sustained assistance with food or clothing or one of the other programs.
Now, you were saying you're not just a food pantry.
Right.
So tell us about all the other things that you do.
Sure. Well, one of the other myths, besides that we're just a food pantry, is that we have so much help, so many volunteers, that we don't need any help, that all the volunteers should go someplace else. I'm here to say that's not true. We definitely need more volunteer assistance because our programming continues to grow, and the board of directors has strategically looked at the ways that we can support our clients the best. And this past year, we made the decision to hire a part-time volunteer coordinator. So we've really organized the ways in which we do applications and recruitment and placement of our volunteers. And I would encourage anyone who's interested in helping with any of the programs we're going to discuss to go to our website, which is falmouthservicecenter.org, and they can fill a volunteer application out right from the website. They can download it and send it in. So that myth is a myth. We do need more help. So our programs, we have the food pantry, where people can come once every 3 weeks and receive food. One of the things that we've really focused on, when I started, I've been there 13 years, it's hard for me to believe, but it was at that point in time we were looking at just getting enough food. Since then, especially in the last 7 to 10 years, we've been looking at the quality of food and more fresh food. Like we have a community garden where we grow vegetables, but we look at getting more and more fresh produce from the food bank. Our major resource for food is the Greater Boston Food Bank. So we're looking at how can we get more fresh produce from our community garden, from the food bank, from people who have gardens at their homes and may want to give us some of their extra vegetables. Like right now, they probably have too many tomatoes or zucchini.
Right, true.
We could use those and give those out to folks. So
I'd want to say, in a sense, that strikes me as an educational initiative.
Absolutely,
as well,
yes.
Spread the word that fresh produce, that good food is critical.
It's really important. And then we have a new program called Foods to Encourage. We were granted the Hunger Network, which I work with other people Cape-wide to organize, was granted a $50,000 grant from Community Benefits of Cape Cod Healthcare to work with people with hypertension and diabetes who are in our client database. And those folks really are given recipes, tastings. There's a nurse that helps them every week. They come for monitoring to see what their blood glucose levels are, what their blood pressure is, and they get a bag of fresh produce. Some vegetables they may never have seen before: Swiss chard, kale, fiddleheads, all sorts of different things. So it's we do a lot of nutrition education in that Foods to Encourage program, as well in the Greater Pantry. We work with the county extension to be able to provide recipes, and the food bank also has a nutrition bites that gives us recipes. So, and when we look at our canned goods, we look at lower sodium soups, all natural fruit juice with the fruit, no salt added to the vegetables. So if people are going out and getting food to donate, we ask them to look at the labels and bring as healthy a food product as they can. We also have a home delivery program, so that this actually started many years ago. When I first began, there was a woman who used to come to the pantry who struggled to get in, an older woman. And one day she said, you know, I'm just not going to be able to come anymore because I can't get myself here. So I said, well, you know, you still need food. So we have about 15 drivers who every 2 weeks, they help pack up bags and they deliver food to about 48 to 50 households where they're seniors or disabled who cannot get in. So that's one of our programs. I'm going to talk about the food-related programs first, and then all the other things. We have what's called Falmouth Eats Together. In 2012, we did a major renovation to the building on Gifford Street, and we added a production kitchen, which has enabled us to do a lot of nutritious cooking. So we prepare meals where we can have food for up to 300 individual people. We take that food to one of the different faith communities or school buildings in the town and invite anybody and everybody to come. because what we want people to do is break down the barriers of class or what they do or who they know.
Yes.
To just sit together
Yes.
and talk and develop relationships.
Yes. I have been to some of those, and I think that attempt to get people to know each other, to break bread together, is wonderful. I have friends who think that they should not go because they may be taking food away from somebody who needs it. So we need to make it clear that it's not just for people who are needy.
No, it's for everyone. And we do have a basket at the front table so that when you come and you write your name on a name tag, if you feel as though you want to contribute towards the cost of the meal, you can drop a little money in that, if that will make people feel better. I have a story to tell about one of the first meals. There was an elderly couple who needed a landscaper. Their person that they had used had stopped working, and they were sitting eating at the table with somebody else who just so happened to be a landscaper and needed a new job. So the two of them, they walked out with somebody who needed help and somebody who wanted to help. So that's the kind of thing that happens at those meals.
Connecting with each other.
Right. Another food-related program is our Fresh Market program. That's in a collaboration with the public schools, where we actually bring produce and a little bit of canned goods to the elementary schools. We do it at T-Ticket in East Falmouth, although the program's open to the entire school district. And it's about education and changing the culture, because we feel as though as people get older, they get set in their ways of what they eat and what they think is good for them. And sometimes, when somebody does something good, they give them a piece of chocolate cake. It's just as easy to give a tangerine or something, or to be happy about good, fresh, good food. So we do recipes out of healthy cookbooks. There's cooking demonstrations. We have a couple of volunteers who wear hats, chef hats, and we have all sorts of educational programming that someone puts together for the kids and the parents to do together. We give them the recipe bag so they can go home and cook the food together. And then they are able to gather about 30 pounds of produce that they take home that they can prepare. So that happens twice a month. And all of the information about when these meals and these markets are located either on our website or through the public school if it's the Fresh Market program.
And that's for anybody.
Yep. Everybody and anybody in the school system.
Yes, I love the emphasis on not eating just processed food.
Yeah.
Eating as much as eating fresh.
Right. And we help people process food stamp applications. And food is so expensive that sometimes when people use their SNAP benefits, is what it's called now, it's really difficult to spend that money on protein and on fresh vegetables because it costs a lot. So it's important for us to provide that to the people who may not otherwise be able to afford it, because everyone should have healthy food so they can have a healthier lifestyle. Thinking about other programs that are related to food, we have I think we talked about all of them. So now we're going to move on so we can talk about being more than a food pantry. We do SNAP applications with people. I have about a dozen volunteers who, if people feel as though they need food stamps or SNAP, we can have them bring their documents with them, fill that application out online, and send it to Department of Transitional Assistance. And then we also help people follow up on those documents. We also help people with fuel assistance. We'll be going, about a dozen volunteers are trained in the end of September, and in mid-October we'll be starting to provide times for people to come in to do those applications. The heating assistance season starts November 1st.
It strikes me that that's so important, because so many people who are in need may not have the information that they need in order to access the help. So this is really very important.
Yeah.
Good.
So the fuel assistance applications can be complicated and confusing for people. They're done not on the computer, and there are a lot of questions. So our volunteers sit and ask those questions, help the people make sure they have all of the documents they need to send it in, and then we do send those in and sometimes follow up with staff. at fuel assistance to make sure that people who are really struggling with the application don't fall between the cracks.
Yes. It's so easy to say, oh, it's just too frustrating, I'll just give it up.
And then we also help with healthcare access.
Oh, good.
Now we don't actually do those applications, and our volunteers don't. We partner with other agencies who have trained staff who come to our place to do that. We really strongly believe in collaboration and partnership with other nonprofits and organizations that provide services. We bring those people to Falmouth Service Center so that folks who come to us for help and have transportation issues and can't get to Hyannis or can't get to Plymouth have the access and opportunity here in Falmouth. So health insurance access is help. We have help from Community Action Committee and from the Community Health Center of Cape Cod. Those agencies come to us and have certain hours, and all that information is available on our website.
Wonderful.
Yeah. We have also, it's very important to us that we provide the assistance with SNAP benefits, fuel assistance, and healthcare access, because we also help Falmouth residents with financial help. If someone's struggling, I gave the example of possibility of really being behind in a mortgage and being at risk of losing a home. They would need to come into the service center if it's the first time they've ever asked for assistance financially and attend a budget class. So they would sit through an hour class with someone who's trained and provides the framework to talk about how much somebody has for income and then how much somebody is spending in expenses. And really, many of the attendees of those classes have really good ideas about how to have shortcuts, like where they get the best coupons from, how they save money on pet food, a lot of different ideas that they all share with each other about saving money monthly weekly to be able to pay their monthly bills. A lot of good ideas are shared by the participants.
Perhaps where gas is cheapest.
Yeah, all those kind of discussions happen in those classes. And then after the class, individually, people sit with one of us to talk about their specific trouble and their problem. And we go through a list of, do you have SNAP benefits? Do you have fuel assistance? What is your health care? So that if they don't have those services, we make sure to sign them up for a food stamp appointment before they leave, sign them up for fuel assistance, make sure we've created a safety net of services around that individual, because we want them to be okay going forward. We also have to be really careful. If we're going to pay something towards somebody's mortgage or rent, we have to make sure that we spend our donated dollars wisely and get all federal or state funding for that person first. Because most of our funding is given through individuals, and I write a lot of grants. We get very little federal or state or town funds. So it's really important that we make sure everyone has other resources before we spend those dollars on financial assistance. So we have a lot of workshops around budgeting, around nutrition. We actually offer a ServSafe class, which, do you know what ServSafe is?
It's sanitation.
It has to do with all these rules around cooking in a kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the reason we offer that class is because we have a great volunteer who's certified to teach it, and we have many different people who want to help us in our kitchen. So we like them to all be ServSafe certified, so that we know that the way the foods are prepared for the home delivery meals and for our community meals are all done in appropriate ways. And then also it helps people who may be volunteering, who are our clients, to then find jobs in the restaurant businesses throughout our community.
Oh yes, it would be a great on the resume to be certified to understand time and temperature and how important
all of those,
that is.
and where you store the foods in the refrigerator, and you, having had a restaurant, would appreciate that. So, so we provide that kind of training. We also have had, over the last several months, the good fortune to have a new collaboration with an organization called We Can, and they've been coming to provide legal consults to people who may be struggling with family law issues or bankruptcy, because that's not an area that we're strong in. So what we did is we developed a collaboration with an agency that has that volunteer base and brought them to the Upper Cape so that together we can best serve our mutual clients. So I'm trying to think, holidays, we haven't talked about holidays.
Yes.
There's a lot that, and we haven't talked about Fresh Start back to school clothing. Why don't we do that first?
Yes, yes.
Because it's happening as we speak. Right now over on
Right.
Gifford Street, there are many of our clients who are coming to pick up their backpacks for their kids for back to school. We helped over 300 children this year with a complete set of clothing, school supplies, and a brand new backpack so that their children can start the school year off with a fresh start. I don't know about you, but every year my 4 kids, we would go back to school clothes
yes,
shopping.
yes.
And you feel better when you get on that school bus and you go to school and you look like everybody else and you have the same good start.
No question, no question. And I know as a grandmother, I've noticed children's clothing is expensive.
It really is.
Yes, yes, I had no idea so for a growing child that the cost is almost what one pays for adult clothing.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's a lot of stress for a parent who might be
is.
trying to figure out how they're going to make their next
Right.
rent check
Right.
payment or pay the light bill.
Right.
So that's a way that we can really help. And we also bring some of those backpacks to the schools so that some of the guidance counselors, if someone hasn't come in to us for help, they have those in the guidance office so they're able to hand them out. And we don't actually do all that work ourselves. What happens every year is around April, May, we begin to think about the families that might really be able to benefit from the support. And then we have a profile that the parents fill out on their children with their preferences of colors and themes and sizes. And then we have people in the community. One woman has a neighborhood association and does like 15 different backpack full of clothing with all from her neighborhood association. We have pediatric offices, we have different businesses throughout the community and individuals who'd say, I'd like to help a child. So that's a way that somebody can really help us is to adopt a child for our back to school clothing program.
And so you funnel that. That's very
we're sort of the mediator.
Yeah. Good.
We find the families who need the assistance and then there's people who want to help. So it's great.
That it strikes me that the work that you do at the service center is particular when you are even concerned about the colors that children have.
Well,
it bespeaks a really careful attention to the kind of good work that you're doing.
Well, you know, Barbara, if I was having a hard time and I needed to ask somebody for help, sometimes people want to know, how do you know somebody really needs help? Well, it's not fun to walk into a food pantry or to have to ask somebody to pay for your rent.
Right.
So all of our volunteers, when we start and we do a volunteer training, we talk about dignity and respect and how important it is to treat someone how you would want to be treated, because you know it's just the other side of the counter and we don't know from one day to the next how something happens in your life. Somebody gets sick and you just don't know.
That's true.
So let's talk a little bit about the holidays.
Yes.
Because they're going to be here before we know it. It's September and I'm already talking turkey and toys. We have a huge Thanksgiving distribution at the service center. We usually give out about 1,000 turkeys and everything that goes with that. So whatever you would eat at your house, we give out in the package. And the Sunday before Thanksgiving, I don't know the date yet, but we'll be having a drop-off day at the service center in the afternoon from noon to 4. So people are invited to go out and get a turkey and the fixings and bring it to us so that we can package it up and distribute it the 2 days following for families who will need help.
So it will be a turkey plus the vegetables.
Whatever people want to bring.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Great.
And we'll have a list on our website that people will be able to find. And then we also, right after that happens, we clear out the Thanksgiving and we go right into making our warehouse look like a toy store. It's like FAO Schwartz on Cape Cod. So, and those toys are all donated. We don't buy any toys. thousands and thousands of gifts. We usually have about 500 households with close to 900 children receiving toys.
Wonderful.
And each child, we give up to 3, 4, 5 toys, depending on how many are given to us. So start shopping with your children and find out what they would like if it was them getting the gifts. Because for some of these families, they wouldn't have anything.
Right.
So there are a whole lot of programs besides food that Falmouth Service Center
I can
does.
see, and I'm amazed. I had no idea.
And that's why we need so many volunteers and so much help. So I'd encourage people to go to the website, look around, find out how they could best help. You know, there's all sorts of programs, all sorts of needs, and without the community helping us, we wouldn't be able to be the middleman in this important service.
Well, I'm inspired. I think that it is just wonderful, the work that you're doing, and it's so successful and effective, and so I really wish you well, and I'm so pleased to have you here so that we can share all that information with people.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yes,
I
yes.
appreciate it. I always love the opportunity
right.
to be able to talk about the Service
Yes,
Center.
yes.
You know, and we don't, like I said, we don't do this by ourselves. Sometimes when somebody's looking for financial help, we work with 3 or 4 other agencies to partner to make something happen. We just had a elderly couple, and the gentleman was a veteran. And it was a very difficult situation, but together with several other agencies, we were able to take care of everything they needed.
Yeah.
And it's when you can do something like that because you have a community who's supportive, you know that it's the right thing to do.
Yes, this kind of thing is what makes Falmouth
We're blessed.
good
This is
community.
a
Yes.
special town.
Yes.
We are very
yes,
lucky.
a very good community.
Yeah.
Thank you again very much. And thank you. I'll thank our viewers too. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Conversations.
Thanks, Barbara.
Yes.